Hi everyone, welcome back to Gillian at Mystic Healing Therapies. So what I'm going to talk to you about today is our multi-dimensional selves, the origins of this, the origins of life as humans on this planet, and also DNA and the different dimensions, 12 strands of DNA, etc. So I'm going to be going a little bit deeper than I sometimes go on these videos, but if you have any comments, just leave me if you've got any questions, leave me a comment and I will endeavour to answer you. Alright, so where do we start? Let's go back to when humans first started to incarnate on this earth. So planet Earth was always designed to be a fifth dimensional space. So what does a fifth dimensional space look like? Okay, so in a 5-dimensional space we would have 12 strands of DNA activated, or there's more DNA, but let's just go with the 12 strands to start with. So we would have 12 strands of DNA in operation available to us. So what does that look like, Gillian? All right then, well, we'd be able to manipulate matter by sound and using our mind. We'd be able to teleport, we'd be able to fly, we'd be able to have all of those things open to us that seem so fanciful now and so science fiction-y. But in a 5-dimensional world, those things are available to us if we've done the inner work. What else does a 5-dimensional world look like then? Well, in 5D we're multi-dimensional, so we can easily see the other dimensions around us. So originally on this planet we would be able to communicate with the elementals, we'd be able to communicate with the fairy races, the tree spirits, and this would be natural and normal and part of everyday life. And as well as that, we would find it very normal and natural to communicate with our galactic brothers and sisters. So we were open to visitors from other planets coming here, and this would be normal and an everyday occurrence. It wouldn't be a big, massive deal. We would just live in harmony with other dimensions, and like I say, that would be normal and natural. Very beautiful existence. If you want to know more about that, read my book Enchanted Earth. I'll put the link below. So what happened then? Why has this come about that we're in this 3D place now with 2 or 3 strands of DNA, and we kind of almost like in isolation? So what happened to us? Why did this happen? All right, so I don't know the numbers in this because time's kind of like irrelevant in some ways, but millions of years ago then, the reptilian race infiltrated the earth. So they came to earth not as a benign ET that was looking just to communicate, learn from us and move on. They came with the idea of domination. They wanted to dominate us, they wanted to control us. So they came to our planet, they infiltrated us by, you know, there's the idea around them shape-shifting, so they appear to take on a human form, yet in some of their states they aren't human, they're reptilians. And just bear in mind that these reptilians are ultimately controlled by the artificial intelligence. So that is our ultimate enemy, the artificial intelligence. But the artificial intelligence controls the reptilians, if that makes sense. All right, so this reptilian race then, they infiltrated the earth, took positions of power right throughout the recent ages anyway. So what happened in the last stage of civilization, or the great civilization of Atlantis? They began to use their power in such a way that it was a threat to the entire planet. So what the creators actually did is, you know, the demise of Atlantis, as everybody knows, is the end of that civilization, where there was kind of like a planetary reset where we had all the floods and all the rest of it. But I'll do another video on Atlantis on another day. But ultimately what the creators decided to do was put a kind of like isolate planet Earth, put us in a state of quarantine, a spiritual quarantine, so that our DNA was deactivated, so we were left just with a couple of strands, and there was this spiritual isolation. So when I say spiritual, we were less in tune, we were not multi-dimensional. So in 3D, we had to step down to 3D where we're not multi-dimensional. What we see is what we get, and we weren't having interplanetary communication so much with the other dimensions. So we were sort of placed in quarantine for our own sake, really, in some regards. But what that's meant is, for the last thousands of years, I think around 260,000 years, but don't quote me because I'm not one for different times. But anyway, so for this last thousands of years, we've been living in this 3D world where we've got hardly any spiritual connection. You know, we've been taught by the reptilians to not create, not be ourselves. They've hijacked all the religions and put their version in that create fear rather than create harmony and create empowerment. So we've been living in this third dimensional space where, you know, we think that we're the only, I think it's inconceivable that people can think that that planet Earth is the only sentient habitation in the entire universe. You only have to look up in the skies and see how can that be. But anyway, this is what we've been told, and that's what a lot of people have believed. However, what's happening now is, as many of you know, we're moving to the fifth dimension. So many people all around the world are waking up. They are losing the 3D goggles and they're putting on 5D sight glasses, and they can see there's other dimensions available. You know, they're open to the idea of galactic brothers and sisters. They can see that there's been negative races, i.e. the reptilians, etc., that have been taking control. And now a lot of us are thinking it's time to reclaim that power, reclaim it. Now, astrologically, this is the time, this is end games, you know, it's written all in the scriptures, etc., that this is the time where we claim our power back and we step back into 5-dimensional space. Now, people have been saying to me, I don't know what you mean by 3D, 5D, whatever. So I know I've done a video on this before, but I'll just recap. So like I say, originally the Earth was supposed to be 5-dimensional space where we were multi-dimensional. We got more of our DNA available and we had a magical enchanted existence. But then the reptilian race, controlled by the artificial intelligence, infiltrated planet Earth, assumed positions of power. As you can see now, all the corporations, the powerful families, the royal families, the banks, they're all basically controlled by the reptilians and artificial intelligence. So in the last cycle of life, we had to do a reset with Atlantis, so then we became third dimensional. Now I know that there's Tartaria as well, that was another civilization, but that's another story for another day. I can't go into that today. So fall of Atlantis, we become third dimensional. We only have 2 strands or 3 strands of DNA. We think that what we see is what we get. We think that we're the only people in the world, in the universe, that's sentient, and it's all very straightforward and clear cut. But like I say, astrologically now it's time to move on. So 3D is that. 5D is when we have got more DNA activated. We can see things from a multi-dimensional perspective. We're more in tune and connected to source. We live more true spiritual life. That's a 5D. And people say, well, what's 4D then? Well, 4D is when you are stepping out of the 3D. You can see that there's lies, you can see that we've been lied to, mistruths, but that's a very chaotic place to be. So you don't want to be in 4D because there's a lot of chaos there, a lot of discourse. It's not a pleasant place to be, 4D. You know, we get a lot of sort of monsters and demons on 4D, so we really don't want to be on 4D. So 3D is this everyday life that we've all been living for the last how many years. 4D is kind of like the waking up process, the lower astral planes, that kind of place. 5D is when we step through that and we kind of instant manifestors. We're living our best life, we're living in joy and happiness, we're connected to source, and you know, we have a very true abundant life, and that's where we're all heading. We're all heading that way. If you're listening to videos like this and you're doing the work, be very clear, you're moving to 5D. I hope that makes sense. If you've got any questions on it, put it in the comments, like I say, and I'll try to answer them. If you enjoyed this video, please do press like, because it helps with the algorithms and it helps reach more people, because it's time to get this message out to people now. So please do like, share and subscribe, and speak to you soon. Bye for now.